Good morning and welcome to the David and David on Real Estate podcast. We are on episode 110. David, I can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun, and we're bringing back John Defreitas from Sutton Group Summit Realty, a sales representative. John, we're so thrilled to have you back on the podcast. We had you on the last episode where we dove into your story and found out some great tips for new realtors and just starting out. But you mentioned something the last time you were on. We talked about video. And I want to jump more into this because it's such an important topic and you do it really well. So tell us more about video. Tell us more how you got into it and tell the audience what they should be doing with video to really take their career to the next level.
Sure. Once again, thank you guys. I really appreciate being on your podcast. It's awesome, a lot of fun. For me, I think I mentioned it previously. One of the reasons that I got into video was because I wanted to be different and differentiate myself from all the other, people getting into real estate. And everyone was launching by putting up, posts that they were transitioning to become a realtor, and it was getting lost in the weeds. So to me, I wanted to be different, and I wanted to put out a video, be authentic and be myself, and just tell everybody, hey, that was my past life, but I'm encouraged to start this new life, and here's the skill sets that I have that will make me a great realtor, and I want to keep great connections with all the people I already know forward. So that was my catapult into video. At the time that I was thinking about real estate as well, I was spending a lot of time diving into other podcasts, to be honest with you. And a lot of them were like some really great real estate coaches. Tom Ferry and the Ferry team was definitely one that I listened to a lot. And, a couple of years back when I had started thinking about getting into it, they were all video, video, video. If you're not doing video, you're not doing social media. And it was true, because if you look at all the platforms, everything was transitioning at that time from still images and just simple posts to video. Video was everything. So I made a conscious decision at that time to focus on as much video as I could, given even at that time, not a lot of realtors were even doing a ton of video. It was only a couple of years ago. That shows you how quick the, social media practices and techniques change. So that was kind of my approach for sure. In terms of focusing on doing video and what you should try and make sure you're achieving, you definitely want to be yourself. 100% be authentic. If you try and become a different version of yourself, somebody you're not, people will see through you. That's not sustainable. You might come off sounding really, really good, but it's not who you are, and people will eventually catch on. It's okay to rehearse and practice exactly what you're saying, but you don't want to sound like it's overly rehearsed. So have points that you want to make, but let it come freely and flow. You also want to make sure that you're either one of two things. You're either funny or you're very informative. If you're neither, that is not a good recipe. You're going to eventually die. You could be both, which is fantastic, but you need to be at least one of those things. Funny, everything, TikTok is so popular. One of the reasons is because it's entertaining. Many times it's funny, whether it's music or just funny videos. So being funny, people gravitate to that. They like to watch that. And you don't have to, if you're not a funny type of person, go the information route and just provide a lot of valuable data. And that's one of the things I do. I like to think of myself as I could be a funny person, but I decided to go the information route because, well, I felt like providing that info was more valuable than just being funny. And it shouldn't be all about real estate. It's very important to say that, because they will tune you out. There's always real estate, always real estate. So what I do is I will talk property, but I focus more about how people live. So, home hacks, advice tips for, some of the best restaurants you might want to visit in a given neighborhood. I do neighborhood profiles, teaching people about the what's popular about a certain neighborhood. If you just talk about transacting in real estate only, people will get bored and they'll kind of know who you are and they're like, okay, I've seen this story before. But if you mix it up and you intertwine some really important nuggets of information in the real estate market while you're doing it, it's valuable for sure. and be consistent. If you only put out like one post a month or a video a month, it's not going to work. You need to ideally put something out every single day. If it's video, at least 3 to 4 times a week would be ideal.
So when you start this, when you did your very first one, are you holding up your phone and videoing yourself and doing a crude version of something and doing a couple takes, or did you jump into something more sophisticated right away?
Yeah, David. So that's funny because my very first video, which was my welcome to real estate video, I'm in my office right now as we're having this podcast. I'm staring at the TV that I had as my background that I literally just stood up against. I had like this YouTube clip running that was just like the Toronto skyline going by, and I'm like, okay, that looks cool. Stood in front of it, had my used tripod that I bought from a consignment shop on my desk with a clamp, like one of those video clamps to clamp my phone. And there it was. That was my video. It took me, I think, maybe a dozen takes, because as you're going through it, every single, like I said, you don't write down what you're going to say, but you kind of have a gist. And every time it came out, it was like, no, that sounded absolutely ridiculous. So it's like you do take 2, take 3 until you're like, okay, it sounds better. And you're never satisfied. This is a perfect take, but you get to a point where it's like, okay, that was good. It was good enough. And you put it out. So it took me a lot of time, I think, more getting used to just being myself in front of the camera, more so than going for perfection. But once you get that comfort level, it goes a lot quicker, and you can go through like in a couple takes, 2 or 3 takes, you can just put a video out.
John, you said so many things I want to dive into there. Like the first thing that you mentioned is being authentic and being yourself. And I couldn't stress this enough to people thinking about going in front of the camera. You are an individual. You are, a beautiful person. You are you, and, embrace that. You don't have to be something else. And you're not going to connect with everybody, nor should you want to connect with everybody. You're going to connect with the people that you're supposed to connect with. And guess what that's going to do with your business? It's going to attract the people who want to work with you.
Yeah.
If you're not authentic and you're not yourself, you're going to attract the wrong person. You're going to attract the wrong people. You're going to attract people that think you're something else and somebody else, and they're going to expect something else from you. And it's hard to be a different person. It's hard not to be yourself day in and day out. And listen, you know what the relationship is like with clients. Like, it's intensive. You spend a lot of time together. And if you have to, continue to be a different person all the time, that drains a lot of energy out of you. It's so much easier to be you, be authentic, and let that show through the videos. And then you're going to attract the people that you're supposed to attract. And there's so much business out there. Stop having a scarcity mindset, have an abundance mindset. There's so many people out there. You want to attract the people that are going to want to work with you and that are going to be attracted to your personality. The only way to do that is to be yourself. And if you can figure that out and let go of all those other preconceived notions, creating video is going to get simpler. It's gonna get easier to do. It's going to get so much harder if you're not yourself and you're thinking about, oh my God, how do I attract, these people, and what are these people going to think about me? I know it's hard to do, and I struggle with this myself. Recently we hired a digital marketing agency where we're putting out a lot more videos for, the things that I'm involved with. And, it's not easy, but you have to get out of your comfort zone, and you got to be yourself first and foremost. So I think that's, great advice, John, to whoever wants to get in front of the camera. And I think that's paramountly important to be able to, connect with your audience. And it doesn't have to be polished. I see some of the biggest influencers on social media are not putting out polished product. In fact, it's the opposite almost, because people want to be in that moment. They want to experience it like that person's experiencing that situation. And people can't really relate to a super polished product either. Like, like it's tough. It's like you see those commercials on TV, you think they're, billion-dollar companies. Like, this isn't really relevant to me. It doesn't really affect me, right? But those authentic videos that are created, on your iPhone, we have 3 cameras on our iPhones. Our iPhones are more powerful than like some of the best cameras we had like 5 years ago,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So use that technology and create that raw video. Be yourself. Be in the moment, and it's gonna resonate with people.
Yeah, you are bang on. I couldn't have said it any better. That is absolutely true. And correlating the authenticity factor back to working with people that are like-minded and you can relate to is a great, great point. Because in this business, you're going to have an opportunity to work with so many different people. And it's important to enjoy what you're doing. And if you're working with a client that you don't click with, you're not going to likely be the best version of yourself. So that's a fantastic point you make, that if you are yourself, you're going to attract people who like you for who you are, and you're going to end up, being a best version of yourself and delivering a great service to them through that.
Right.
I think that's really important. And, that's why when we do these podcasts, like, John, you asked us before we even started recording, like, we never edit. We don't do retakes. It is what it is. And, we get some good stuff. We get some, some bad stuff in the middle of it, some dead spots, but it is what it is, because that's who I am. That's who David is. And anybody watching, they want to know, if they're interested in this, they want to know who we are and what we're about. And I think a lot of that comes back to like when you market yourself, number one, for sure you want to market that you're an expert and you're going to provide good service, right? Because you're trying to sell yourself at the end of the day. But I think what you're really trying to get across is who you are and how you define yourself. Like when you introduce yourself to someone, do you say, "Hi, I'm John, I'm a real estate agent"? Or like, or "Hi, I'm John, this is who I am, this is who my family is, this is who my spouse is, I have kids, I do this is what I do." And then the conversation, "Oh, by the way, what do you do for a living?" "Oh, I'm a real estate agent," and and other people lead with that. It's like, "Hi, I'm a real estate," and I think they have a tougher time. If that's how they really define themselves, I think they're behind the 8 ball, because people want to deal with people, whether it's a real estate agent or a lawyer. It's no different for me. I never define myself. "Hi, I'm a real estate lawyer." Like, nobody's ever heard that come out of my mouth. It's nobody introduces me that way. Here, David, oh, he's got a wife, he's a grandfather, he's a brother, he's a son, he's a good friend, he's a athlete. It's anything but a lawyer. Like, that's the last thing. And they get to know me and they trust me and they like me. They need some legal, sure, I'm happy to do that for you, right? Exactly. I think that's the way I look at it. I don't know if you agree.
No, I absolutely agree. It's like, what do you want written on your tombstone? That you're a great realtor, or you're a great father, a great husband?
Absolutely.
So along those lines, 100%, David. So I agree, and it's a balance. Like, so for me, I do mention I'm a realtor, but I never lead with that. So I always lead with like something that is definitely going to be, hopefully, catch their attention and going to be of interest to them. And then I go in to say, "Hey, yeah, my name is John Defreitas. I'm a local realtor with Sutton Group Summer Realty, bringing you hopefully great advice and tips to help you navigate this real estate market." And that's it. I leave it at that. And then I go into whatever I talk about. And sometimes I don't even talk about real estate. It could be talking about how to deal with mold in the house. But, I let people know that is who I am. That's kind of my thing. But hey, that doesn't define everything that's going to come out of my mouth. And that doesn't define exactly what you're going to hear from me necessarily all the time. So yeah, David, it's definitely a balance. You don't want to lead with, "Hello, I'm a real estate agent, here's my number, be sure to call me," sort of scenario. The less you do of that, I would say, the better. And there's two approaches. There's many people that don't even mention they're a realtor, which I think is also a very good approach too, because then you get people more interested in what you're saying than what you do. And through that, you get the business just organically.
Well, you think if someone said, "Hi, I'm a real estate agent and I want to earn a commission from you," like, that's not a winning pitch.
No.
To
no,
video.
that's going to break the internet if you do that, for sure.
John, how often do you record your videos?
So, being a realtor, your schedule can vary depending on what's going on, obviously, right? But I purposely try and set Mondays aside to do my video recordings if I can. So usually, you know, Monday I'll try and knock out at least maybe 3 videos. I tend to use TikTok as my main platform, but I put it out on all my platforms. And sometimes I'll do a more, in-depth, neighborhood profile video, which I really like doing. So 3 to 4, but Monday is usually the day that I want to knock that off. I find it's easiest you try and just focus on it one day, and then, just save your drafts and then just post it at the right time. And when you post videos, this is really important too. Like, certain videos should be posted at certain times to certain platforms. So something like a very informative update on, let's say, what's going to happen on the Bank of Canada interest rate increase, you might want to post that specifically around noon on LinkedIn, where you have a lot more professionals that would be potentially on that site, and perhaps during lunch would be scrolling, and that'll catch your attention. Versus if you're going to post something that's really funny, that might want to be sometime between dinner and downtime, where people are just kind of scrolling on their couch, somewhere like around 7 o'clock. So that's important. But generally it's going to be, pick one day that you can knock out the bulk of your videos, so that you're not doing videos every single day and it feels like a lot more of a time hog than it really should be.
Well, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into how you use TikTok, because you said that's sort of your main go-to, and so we want to do that. We'll do a whole episode, I think, on that. But before we leave video, is there magic in how long a video should be? Like should it be a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Like, I'm not sure. How do you figure that out?
Yeah, so I would say there is no magic number. It really depends on what the content is that you're trying to put across, and how interesting or informative it is. I've seen and heard of videos that are 10 minutes long that get like crazy views and likes, and ones that are like 10 seconds and they're equally as popular. So it really depends on what you're putting across. So I wouldn't say there's a magic number. I would say, though, generally, you don't want to ramble on video. So try and keep it as concise as possible. I guess the most popular time frame would be like somewhere around the 2-minute mark would probably be really good. And 30-second ones are really good. You can post them on a lot of different media platforms too, and they'll accept it. But yeah, I would say, try and keep it short if you can. But if you're diving into like the theory of interest rates and what's going to happen with the economy, don't be afraid to run a 5-minute video on that, because it'll provide a lot of value.
Awesome, John. Well, listen, thanks again for coming on and discussing video. John Defreitas is a platinum realtor with Sutton Group Summit Realty, and he loves video. So, John, this is a great episode, and we'll have you back on the next show to dive deeper into TikTok. And more importantly, should I create a TikTok account? Because I've been resisting, and we're going to get that question answered on our next episode. So, John, thanks so much for coming, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, John.